Boys, it's been a minute. Yeah, consistency's been weird. I've had a lot of stuff go on in my life, so being consistent has been very tough. And I apologize about that. Definitely something I want to improve. Definitely something I'm going to work on, because this is what I want to do. I love doing it. I have a passion for content creation, especially around Jags football and football in general. So I couldn't get my mock draft video out, which I was very disappointed about. You know, draft season is probably one of my favorite times in sports. I had to do it a different way. You know, incoming plug. I started a sports blog. I figured, I love writing, love content creation, love sports. So why not write about it? So I'll put that link in the description. It's called the Undrafted Sports Report. That's where you can find my mock draft. I know the draft has already happened, so you probably, who gives a shit at this point, but it's there if you want to read up on some players. I did a little bit of a kind of synopsis on each pick and why I thought he'd go here, why he, maybe shouldn't. It was more of a predictive mock draft, lesser than, what I think should have happened. Hey, feel free to check that out. New content coming soon on there for sure. I'm having a lot of fun with it. But yeah, figured I should drop a video. I got some time. So let's talk about the draft. Here we are again, number one overall pick, and it's a lot different than years past. Very polarizing first pick for sure, to say the least. It seemed like everyone was on board with Evan Neal, and then a couple weeks later, it's Aiden Hutchinson, and then, 5 days before the draft, about a week or so before the draft, Trayvon Walker is a pretty decent possibility. And lo and behold, Roger Goodell walks out to the podium, the number one overall pick, the Jaguars select Trayvon Walker. And there's a pretty big mixed response to that one. A lot of people on board, but I'd probably say a majority, in favor of going a different direction, whether that be Aiden Hutchinson, Evan Neal, even Kayvon Thibodeau a couple months ago seemed like he was for sure going to go number one. Yeah, if you would have told me, probably like 4 months ago that you get the number one overall pick and Kayvon Thibodeau and Aiden Hutchinson are, both not wearing a Jaguars uniform by the time the draft is over, I would have thought you were clinically insane. But yeah, neither are Jaguars, which is pretty crazy. It just shows you what draft season is. It's a lot of unpredictable things. It's a lottery. If you get a third of the first round correct, it's like baseball. If you're hitting 300, you're an all-star. So yeah, a lot of surprises, as there usually is. But yeah, in this case, it started off with the number one overall pick, which you don't see too often. So yeah, as I mentioned, Trayvon Walker, number one overall pick, defensive end out of Georgia. And, I can understand why people aren't too enthusiastic about this pick. You look at the production, you look at the statistics, and you're kind of just like, really? This guy? Like, this is a number one overall pick, and I get it. I understand. I completely get it. You look at the production, and the numbers are not there. But the thing is, just like Christian Kirk, what the contract situation was with him, you are drafting Trayvon Walker for what he can be, not necessarily what he is. Similar to Christian Kirk, you gave him that contract because you believe he can be something different, be something bigger than what he's done thus far. You think he can be better, you pay him more money. So yeah, you look at Trayvon Walker's stats, 33 total tackles, 7.5 tackles for loss, and 6 sacks. Just to put it in perspective, I'll tell you Aiden Hutchinson, 62 total tackles, 16.5 tackles for loss, and 14 sacks, not to mention he was second in Heisman voting. So yeah, when you boil it down to production, these players aren't even nearly comparable. But then you look at the athletic potential in Trayvon Walker that it just jumps off the page. He's 6'5", 272 pounds with 35.5-inch arms. And let me get into the numbers with this. He ran a 4.5 40 at that size, along with a 35.5 vertical jump, a 6.89 three-cone drill, and a 4.32 shuttle. 20-yard shuttle. Those numbers from a guy that is that size is out of this world. So yeah, like I said, you are drafting Trayvon Walker at number one to be something much bigger than what he was in college. And on that defensive line, he was asked to play inside a lot of the time. You didn't really see him on the edge too much to where he'd be able to get a lot of these sack numbers. And you see Aiden Hutchinson, you're like, well, he had 14 sacks. Like, why not take him? I understand that. And if it were me, I probably would have gone Aiden Hutchinson. It seems like a safer selection. But if you're betting on the potential of Trayvon Walker, then I'm fully on board as long as you can develop him. What we have here is, an athletic freak. There's not much you can ask him to do that he can't do. Yeah, so at face value, you kind of look at Trayvon Walker with a lot of question marks, and I completely get that, and I'm with you. As long as you're able to develop him, he's going to be a stud. With Mike Caldwell, too, that front seven is scary, and that was also, bulked up in the draft for sure, as we'll get to later. So we came into the draft with the number 1 overall pick in the first round and also the number 1 overall pick in the second round, yet we didn't stay there for too long. At pick 27, we decided to move up a little bit to select Devin Lloyd, linebacker out of Utah. This is one of my favorite picks in the draft, period. Not even just for the Jags, in the draft. An absolute steal. This kid is absolutely fantastic at almost everything. To get him at 27, even better. In his last year at Utah, he posted a 90.3 PFF grade, which was equivalent to Chad Mumma at the top of linebackers in college football last season, along with 111 tackles, 7 sacks, and 4 picks. Think about that. 7 sacks and 4 picks. This dude is unbelievable. So when it comes to our front seven, it is going to be a force next season. Not to mention, he probably had the best Duval I've ever heard. And, he was a Jaguar for a day at that point. So I already love him. Not a huge fan of him wearing 33. I really wish he could stick with 0. But easily a jersey that I think I could pick up. This dude is awesome. This kid is, he's going to be a fan favorite in no time. So after that pick at 27, we didn't have another pick in the second round. Our next pick came at 65 overall in the third round, where we took Luke Fortner, center out of Kentucky. With Brandon Linder retiring this offseason, we had to get a replacement. Tyler Shatley's solid, but let's try and get a long-term option here because Luke Fortner is one of my favorite players in the class. In almost every mock draft I did, I had him going in the third round with us at either 65 or 70. So I think it was great value. I think we got a really nice player in Luke Fortner. And not to mention, Luke also has guard flexibility. So if you want to kick him to guard and leave Shatley at center, that could work. Or you could slide Shatley to guard, leave Luke at center. That could also work too. You can't really go wrong. Kid's got a lot of versatility and a lot of potential on that offensive line. I love this pick. To get him in the third round is a perfect situation for us. We didn't have to wait too much longer after that 65th overall pick. We had a pick at 70, and we took probably my favorite player in the entire class, Chad Mumma, linebacker out of Wyoming. This was an absolute dream case scenario. I didn't expect it at all, and neither did Chad. After we took Devin Lloyd at 27, I'm like, damn, I love it, but man, I wanted Chad. Hey, we got both, so I was thrilled. I was super happy with this one. Chad's one of my favorite players in the class, like I said. Kid can absolute fly, absolute playmaker. He can wear the green dot, play at Mike. So now you got Chad in the middle with Foye and Devin Lloyd next to him. Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker on the edge. Fatu Saki, Devon Hamilton in the interior. You got Smoot as depth. You got Roy Robertson Harris, you can play at the 3-tech. Mike Caldwell got some toys this offseason and through the draft. To say I'm excited for this defense is an extreme understatement. I cannot wait to see what they do next season. And like I said earlier, PFF graded him a 90.3 grade last season. Yeah, so the kid's a stud. In his last season at Wyoming, he had 142 total tackles, 8 tackles for loss, 1.5 sacks, and 3 picks. And 2 pick sixes. Kid's a playmaker. Not to mention his relative athletic score. Yeah, his RAS score was a 9.79. That's crazy. Ran a 4.63 40, a 4.28 shuttle, a 7.06 3-cone, a 40-inch vertical. Absolutely tremendous value for where we got him. I was thrilled. So yeah, third round wrapped up with Luke Fortner and Chad Mumma. I'm no draft expert. I don't claim to be. So as we get further in this draft, some of these guys, most of these guys are new names to me. I didn't watch tape on a lot of these guys. And next up would be Snoop Connor. So if I'm grading the name, it gets probably a 12 out of 10. Running back from Ole Miss. And what I've seen from him, in the limited, tape I've watched, kid's a bruiser. Dude runs hard. I think what he does is he allows you to replace James Robinson in situations and kind of have a similar back to kind of play in that same style, So if James Robinson ever needs, a breather or, God forbid, knock on wood, he gets hurt again, you can put Snoop Connor in and he's able to do, now, I'm not saying exactly what James Robinson is able to do. You're just able to run your scheme the way you would have if James Robinson was on the field. And then up next we took, I'm gonna botch this name like big time. Ouchita Baptist. I hope I got that right. Probably not. There's no chance. Ouchita Baptist. We took Gregory Jr., a cornerback. He looked pretty good at the Senior Bowl. I've seen some tape of him clamping up Romeo Dubs. I'm just botching names left and right. And he looked pretty good. And what's kind of interesting is we went back to back with corner. We took Arkansas cornerback Monteric Brown, who I think was third behind Sauce Gardner and Kyler Gordon, I think, in opponent passer rating allowed. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think that's what I saw. It's been a minute. I think it was like a 17.9, I think. Sauce gave up like a 0 and Kyler Gordon had like a 12.9 or something like that. But yeah, to get that in the 7th, it's interesting. And what's weird about it is we had a lot of corners already on the depth chart. You got Shaquille Griffin, Tyson Campbell, a new addition in Darius Williams. You got Trey Herndon back, Chris Claybrooks. You got some names out there. You got a lot of people there. So I'm kind of interested to see which direction we go when it comes down to like cuts. I think Trey Herndon could be a surprise cut. I like Trey, but you know, he's a replaceable guy. So yeah, we took 2 corners back to back to close out the draft, which was a little frustrating. I would have loved to see Justin Ross come off the board for us, but I really like the UDFA we got out of Notre Dame. Yeah, Kevin Austin posted a 9.93 RAS score. To get that as an undrafted free agent, yes please. He ran a 4.43 40 with a 2.54 10-yard split, or I'm sorry, a 2.54 20-yard split and a 1.48 10-yard split, which is like 95th percentile to 98th percentile among the receivers. Like that's wild. He's 6'2", 200 pounds, 39-inch vertical. I mean, like, as a UDFA, that isn't bad. That's tremendous value. I've been seeing things that he was expected to go in the 4th or 5th round. Not a guy that I was familiar with to that extent. Definitely heard the name. You know, he's a Notre Dame guy. You hear Notre Dame a lot. But yeah, very, very nice pickup for the Jags, I think. And we got a big haul of UDFAs. Sadly, Justin Ross wasn't in there, but that's the casual in me. I just bet on the upside, man. Bet on the upside. I mean, once upon a time, considered to be one of the best receivers in football. Injuries are scary, definitely a cause for concern. But man, just bring him into camp, see how he's doing, put a smile on Trevor's face. Man, I was so here for it. It seems so perfect. Trevor, Travis, and Justin Ross, bro. It sounds a lot better than it probably would have ended up being. But I said, you know, why not? You know, Kansas City got him. He'll probably end up being a stud. So yeah, check out the sports blog if you want. No pressure. It's a pretty cool site, easy to navigate through, very user friendly. If you go to the NFL tab, you can check out my mock draft that I did before the draft happened to kind of learn more about the guys who were taken in the first round and maybe my justification of where I put them. And yeah, make sure to follow me on Twitter. I'll put my link down here. Go check that out. If you ever want to reach out, have any questions or anything, just want to say hi, reach out. I'll respond a lot more often than not. Make sure to like and subscribe. It means a ton to me. Goes a lot further than you think. So yeah, I appreciate you guys sticking with me. I promise consistency is on the way. I'm really going to hold myself to a higher standard. Like, I really got to get more videos out. I apologize. Hope you guys enjoyed the draft. Got to see family, friends, hang out a little bit. It's a great time of the year. Football's right around the corner. And as always, man, go Jags.
Told me, it's like, so you going to pick up the commissioner, right? I was like, okay. So I wasn't picking up the commissioner. So it wasn't planned or premeditated or anything. It just kind of happened on the fly. Just a whole lot of emotions. I was really excited. And so, I just went out there and I did that.